Starting our 13th session of Manav Vyavhar Darshan English translation reading sessions. And so we are at the chapter number 4, which we have divided in 3 parts. The first part is being done by Sanjana, and then Shubha Didi will be doing it. And after that, we have Kuhu plan to do the third part of it. So today's agenda, we will have Sanjana and Tanuj starting up, and they will probably introduce themselves as a couple to start with. And then after that, we will have a small guest appearance, yeah, by Sanjeev Bhaiya, who is one of the pillars of the translation work, and so wanted to hear from him about Sanjana happens to be his daughter, and you can see him all smiles uh, at that. So wanted to hear from him about his experience of doing the translation, and also um, uh, anything about he would like to share. After that, we will have Shubha Didi taking up the second part of uh, the human purpose or Manav Sahaj Prayojan chapter. So over to you, Sanjana and Tanuj. Yeah.
Thank you, Chachaji. Should we do our introductions first, or should I finish my portion of the reading and then go on to introductions? How would you suggest we structure this?
As you like it. I mean, I think introduction first would be nice.
Okay, definitely. So I think most people would have read, the WhatsApp note that accompanied uh, the announcement of my session. So I can just quickly recapitulate that. I am from Delhi, originally from Delhi, and for the past 2 years after getting married, I have been settled in Chandigarh. And my introduction to the philosophy was through my family, specifically through my father. And he first attended a shivir in 2014. He felt that this content would be relevant for us. I was in college at that time, and questions about what is my purpose, why am I here, um, what really comes after this? Is this an endless cycle of work somewhere, earn a lot of money, and live life, or is there more to it? These were all questions that I had seen Papa grapple with, and somewhere the way things were progressing with me, I felt myself also struggling with these questions, and somewhere Papa felt that this content and Babaji's philosophy would be relevant in trying to make sense of all of this. And we were very lucky at that time that the Hapur Center had become very active. It was close to Delhi, so it was possible to go there quite frequently and attend shivers. So that is where my journey started. And I consider myself truly fortunate and truly blessed to have gotten access to this content at a relatively young age. Although sometimes I feel it would have benefited me even more had I, when I see children from Abhibhavak Vidyalaya or Prerna Vidyalaya, for example, and I see that they are all of 10 years old, 12 years old, and they are already familiar with all of this, and it is clearly shaping the way they see the world. So yeah, still at a relatively young age, I feel very, very fortunate to have had access to this. And that is where my journey with the Madhyas Darshan started. Another interesting thing that was just picking up at that time, it started in 2017-18, was something known as the happiness curriculum, which was going on with the Delhi government, which was an effort to bring the content of the Madhyas Darshan to Delhi government schools through the form of stories, activities, etc. At that time, many other members from the Delhi Jeevan Vidya team, such as Ankit Bhaiya, Mridu Didi, Shravan Bhaiya, they were all participating in this project. And again, I was very fortunate to be part of that team. And to be able to work closely with all of these people, which not only helped me, I would say, understand the darshan in a better light, but also see the role of education in taking this to the next generation. And again, it just deepened my engagement with the darshan. It also introduced me to many other people who are working with the darshan and education. So it was a very wholesome process in itself. In 2021, I went to Manav for the inaugural Yuva Shivir, which was basically a youth camp for young people, and that is where I met Tanuj. So I actually have Babaji and the Madhya Darshan to thank for introducing me to Tanuj also, because that is how we met. And uh, when we sort of realized that our views about the world, our views about how we want to live life, there was a lot of congruence there. And in 2022, we got married. It has been a wonderful process exploring this together as a couple. And we have had a lot to learn from each other. We have had a lot to practice with each other. Last year, we spent 6 months at Manavdeep, and just the entire process, I feel, of engaging with the philosophy as a couple is so enriching for anybody. So I just feel very grateful that I'm getting to experience this. Over to Tanuj.
So yes, hi everyone. My name is Tanuj, and I'm an entrepreneur in the field of law, legal education, legal media. Um, I got associated with Jeevan Vidya through Vinesh Gupta ji, and I did my first Parichay Shivir in 2019. And when I did it, it was, of course, eye-opening as it is for many people. And I thought that it gave me answers to a lot of queries, questions which I had in life. Uh, Fortunately, I kept associating myself with various, Jeevan Vidya Shivers, thoda aage ka bhi kiya. And as Sanjana has shared, both of us got lucky that we met each other at Manav Tirth, and the philosophy continues being one of the cores of our lives as we are living life and exploring life as a couple. This philosophy remains at the core of our worldview of what our goals are for life. Hugely blessed to have a family also, like my in-laws. Papa is there. Um, so the sort of conversations we are able to have in family, I'm just blessed to have those conversations. Um, yes, most of the teaching or the facilitating part Sanjana will do. So I think I'll hand over the stage to her.
Very nice, Tanuj. So nice to hear for your views.
Thank you, Rakesh.
Okay, so I think should we proceed with the reading? The
Yeah,
remaining questions. There's not a lot left, less than half a page left, but we can wrap that
okay.
up.
You want me to share, Sanjana?
I can share. I can share.
Okay.
Just a second. Okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes. Yes.
So we had finished till this Anubhuti in our last session. And basically, what we were talking about was how everything that we have read till now kind of ties back in with the overall idea of the human purpose that we had discussed in the first session, which is eventually to be able to live in a state of restfulness, which has two aspects to it. One is the sort of clarity within the self leading to resolution, And the second is on the material front, having enough resources, having a feeling of prosperity, and to be able to live with that sense of abundance. So both in the spiritual realm as well as in the material realm, uh, these two activities and the pursuit in these two directions is important, and both of these encompass what we mean by the human purpose. So this is what we had, this is where we had ended our last session. And now I'm going to start with this Anubhuti. At the root of inhumane communities is the fear of cruelty by deluded humans and mighty animals. Similarly, at the root of the formation of a humane society is the goal of being free from the fear of natural events, fear of animals, and fear of inhumaneness in humans. So basically, in the beginning of the chapter also, we had seen Babaji had spoken a lot about uh, the idea of how communities get formed. So this also comes later on in the book, where we see that communities can get formed because of deluded reasons also, and because of reasons that which sort of lie in an area of wisdom or humanity, or coming together for the larger purpose of undivided society. So, for example, when we come together because of the fear of cruelty by deluded humans, or because of solely because of to save ourselves from mighty animals which might sort of end up harming us, that creates inhumane communities. And why does it create inhumane communities? This is also very important, because eventually these communities till now have not understood the purpose of undivided society as it. So basically, these are people coming together driven by a common enemy. There is no actual real understanding which has driven them to come together and to live in harmony with each other. So actually, this is not a true community. This is a community that has emerged because of fear of a common enemy. And eventually, when the common enemy is removed, or when it is when that issue is resolved, then these people realize that actually they don't know how to live with each other, and then there are more fights amongst them, and the kind of harmony with which the assumption was that they would be able to live, that is actually not achieved. And sometimes when I think about human history, actually we see a lot of countries in the world, they there have been partitions, there have been divisions. Countries sort of, when two ethnic groups are in clashes with each other, both decide that it's not possible to live with each other, so let us form our own countries. And the assumption is that once we are away from these enemies, we will be able to live in harmony by ourselves. But actually, in lack of a common understanding of what ties us truly together as humans in an undivided society, even after those differences, like even after coming together in those two groups, or those two ethnic groups, or those two religious groups, or whatever has driven them apart, within the seemingly more homogeneous groups also, there are different kinds of fights, or there are different kinds of atrocities, or the cruelty by deluded humans on other humans. So eventually, I think the point here is that simply fear from a common enemy that is bringing humans together does not create a humane society automatically. It is still an inhumane society. What will create a humane society is only knowledge, realization, wisdom, and understanding what ties us together as humans in an undivided society, which means the understanding of values, the understanding of relationships, etc. So similarly, at the root of the formation of a humane society is the goal of being free from the fear of natural events, fear of animals, and fear of inhumaneness in humans. So this phrase inhumaneness in humans, this actually, I mean, I find it to be a very striking phrase, because when we say humans, there is an expectation of humanity in them, and when that expectation of humanity is not fulfilled, that is what creates the fear of inhumaneness in humans. It also sort of goes on to reiterate something that we studied in the previous session, which was that there is always an expectation of innate humaneness, a basic expectation of trust and respect that we expect from any other human. So when that basic expectation is also not met, that is actually what creates the fear of inhumaneness in humans. Let's move ahead. All human endeavors and experimentations are aimed at achieving satisfaction or happiness. So this is, this is one of those anubhutis which is very short, but in its brevity and in its briefness also says a lot. So, one of those universal truths actually that Babaji just, states with so much beauty and so much clarity, eventually, that everything that human beings do, be it endeavors, be it experimentations, it is all aimed at achieving satisfaction or happiness. Often when this comes up in shivers, then people ask questions, but, there are humans who also commit suicide. There are also humans who do X, Y, Z. How is that aimed at achieving satisfaction or happiness? And I have often, heard senior facilitators giving the response that when they don't see any satisfaction in any of the options available to them, then they choose the option that gives them minimum dissatisfaction. So while we are in the deluded state, if achieving satisfaction is not possible, then at least minimizing our dissatisfaction out of all given options, that is the next best option that we have. But in any case, in all actions that all human beings do, in all their endeavors, in all their efforts, in everything that they are doing, every second, every moment of their lives, all of those efforts are aimed at achieving satisfaction or happiness. And then in the next Anubhuti, we are elaborating on what this happiness or satisfaction, what forms it can take. So, satisfaction or happiness has the differentiation of sensory, that is physical, intellectual, and spiritual realization. So, after intellectual, the bracket also says intellectual. I'm wondering if this is a typing mistake, or if there should be another word here.
But yeah, this one got uh, typo. I will
Oh,
look in. Yeah.
yes. So basically, this is where the sort of we have started looking at the different ways in which happiness or satisfaction can be achieved. So here, Babaji talks about three ways: sensory, intellectual, and spiritual. So I was actually supposed to do till the end of this page. So I think I can just quickly give a summary of this Anubhuti, and then Shubha Didi can pick it up after this, because this is a very long Anubhuti. This actually covers the entire next page also. So I think I will quickly give a summary of this. Basically,
If you want, you can continue to complete the whole Anubhuti, Sanjana. There's no issue.
okay, Shubha Didi, I think, I mean, since my page is fertile here, it will
Okay.
be better for me to, do what was assigned.
Okay.
Oh, yes. So, the sensory aspect of happiness, this is also what is known as Ruchi Mulak Aswadan, which has been spoken about in Jivan Kriya, or the activities of the Jivan also. So basically, the satisfaction that arises through the senses, and also through these activities of seeping, defending, mating, etc. All of these are collectively referred to as sensory satisfaction, which is momentary. So, the basically this will give us a short burst of short pleasurable sensation. Actually, psychology has also identified this as something known as a dopamine hit. Dopamine is a hormone that is, released by our brain when a pleasurable sensation occurs. So, it is a short-lived sort of a burst of happiness. It's like that hormone is released and it gives us a very temporary sense of a temporary high, so to say, and it goes away as quickly as it comes. Even modern psychology has been able to identify this, that sensory satisfaction is very temporary, is very momentary. Then the second level of satisfaction, which is from resolution, and from wealth desire, progeny desire, and reputation desire. This is referred to as intellectual satisfaction, and this is relatively longer lasting. So, these three words we had covered in the last session also: wealth desire, progeny desire, and reputation desire. So basically, these are innate desires that human beings have. The difference is that, in this sense, they have been channelized for the overall good of the society. So, when we understand the perspective of undivided society, when we understand the vision, or the perspective, and look at things from the perspective of universal orderliness, we are able to channelize the desire for wealth, progeny, and reputation into a more meaningful sort of a way, where we want to utilize these things for the overall larger benefit of society. So, like I was sharing in the last session also, now wealth is not, for my personal enjoyment, or to show off, or for purposes like that. Now wealth is basically me understanding that these resources will help me contribute, or will help me participate towards building the larger order, or the undivided society. So basically, this is why these are giving us a more longer lasting sense of happiness, because they ultimately tie in with the feeling of resolution, they ultimately tie in with the feeling of purpose, they ultimately tie in with the feeling of contributing to a vision that is larger than myself. And therefore, this is not just a short burst of dopamine. This is actually something that adds meaning to my, and that is why this is long lasting. This is a more deep sense of happiness compared to the first one. And finally, the last word, which is spiritual happiness, in the sense of realization. This is basically, realization of knowledge, seeing existence as coexistence, understanding omnipotence, understanding that we are all immersed and submerged in omnipotence, and therefore, now this is a constant, unchanging reality, right? So even here in the second level, the satisfaction, the intellectual satisfaction, wealth, progeny, and reputation, there is still some sort of an external dependency. These are things that might go up and down, these are things that might change. But in this spiritual realm, in the realm of realization, as we know by now, the reality of Vyapak, the reality of omnipotence, is a constant, unchanging reality. This is never going to, there is no up and down in this. There is no uncertainty in this. This is always the way it is. And being able to realize this, being able to experience this is going to give me, that sense of happiness and that sense of satisfaction every single moment of my life. The pure joy of experiencing, or evidencing myself immersed in omnipotence, and being able to see existence as coexistence, being able to see the universal harmony, within that is going on within the four orders, and in the interaction of the four orders with omnipotence. All of this and the knowledge of this is basically what gives me ultimate happiness, which is then not dependent on anything else. So this is why this is known as everlasting happiness, or complete happiness, or continuous happiness, because there is no up and down here. So I think that is all from me, Chachaji, and I think I should pause here. If there are any questions, we can take them.
Yes, we can take any questions that might be for Sanjana.
I don't have a question, but I needed to clarify something. The second point and the third point. So, in the second point, it is still coming from a place of samadhan or realization, which is permanent. But because it has to deal with an expression of it, which is dependent on the external, the dynamics of living, that's why it will have up and down. Is that what you were trying to say? Or
Yes, that is
thank
how
you.
I have understood it.
Okay.
But again, I mean, my understanding is still in the process of being built. Chadaji, if you want to add something to Renuji's question.
Yeah, I mean, that is correct only. That's my understanding also. So
Okay.
basically, the realization is constant, but these are the desires or the ashnas which basically connect us with the society, right?
Mhm.
When we connect with the society, it is also connected with the variabilities of it, right?
Yes.
While
Okay.
the fulfillment from the realization that doesn't have any vagaries or the changes from the world, that has a continuous thing. So so that's the reason why basically if you move from gross to subtle to causal, so
Mm.
gross is that you see in terms of the happiness that is derived from the senses, and then
Mhm.
this was what we derive the happiness from the engaging with society is a subtle because it requires some thought with it, and then
Mm.
finally the happiness that is uh, from realization in knowledge, that is the absolute state which has the continuity, which then becomes the basis of all your actions.
But I'm seeing the second point as connected to the third point, or is it that the second point you're talking about जो अभी हम जी रहे हैं बिना पूरी तरह समझे उसमें भी तेष्णा पुतेष्णा पुत्रेष्णा लोकेष्णा तो नहीं आती है. I'm
I would
understanding
say
that
that
way.
we have it in some form. We have it in
Hmm.
some form. Like for example, we have the desire for wealth, even though it
Hmm.
is not uh, uh, out of the understanding of prosperity. We have the
Hmm.
desire for having a family, even though we
Hmm.
don't have the understanding of family's role in the larger scheme of things. We don't have the understanding of reputation, uh, but we still desire for reputation. We want that our name should be known. So we don't know what is the true form of reputation, right? So these three things, I think whatever these things is defined over here, we have it in some form already, right? But what is being said is that these things have a complete form also, right? So when we actually understand the things, we basically learn that what is the true meaning of Utteshna, what is the true meaning of Utteshna and Lokeshna also.
So even when we understand the true meaning, these would still be up and down because they are still dependent on the external world, and therefore the variability will factor in. Am I
I would,
understanding it right? Yeah.
I would not say up and down in the sense of that
Yes.
one would basically sometimes be very sad and sometimes be very happy.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
not that. But in
Not
terms
that. Yeah.
of the variability in terms of that circumstances will change. Like for
Yeah.
example, you are actually having prosperity through one means and
Hmm.
you would have from some other means tomorrow, right? But the continuity of prosperity will be there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is there.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, Rakesh, if I have a question over here.
Yeah, yes, Raghav. Yeah.
So, see, the way that I understood the second point is, so suppose we earn wealth and distribute to all the other people, we will get happiness, right? So, but still, it is only when I'm giving it is happiness, right? So, if I want happy, so it will last for maybe 1 week. So, if I want to be happy next week, I have to get more wealth and distribute again. So, it is not, I mean, as it's clearly explained, it is only for that time of period. But I didn't understand this last one, the spiritual happiness. The way it is explained over here seems to be that Sanjana seems to be saying that we don't have to do any activity, but we will be, once we realize that and understand the knowledge, then we will be happy forever because Vyapak is constant and we understand it. So does it mean that we don't have to do any activity but still be happy?
Well, it is associated with the activity. Well, by the way, Raghava is the friend that I had introduced some other time to all of you. So Raghava actually visits on the Saturdays and we attend the session together. So to answering the point, whether the act of realization in omnipotence or Vyapak, whether that is associated with an activity or a corresponding activity or not. So that is, yes, it is associated with an activity, and that is called upkar. That is something that is making other person, enabling other person understand the way that you have understood. So while the realization is actually having a continuity of bliss in itself, the evidence of it is in terms of enabling others like oneself. So that is the evidence of having understood or having realized, right? So imparting the understanding to others is the evidence of realization. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so we will actually then, if there are no other questions for Sanjana, maybe we can actually stop the this thing, and I will now invite Sanjeev Bhaiya if he would like to share uh, some of his thoughts.
Thank you, Rakesh Bhaiya, and good evening, everyone. Am I audible, Bhaiya?
Yes, yes, you are. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that during COVID time, you did some sessions in the winter of 2020 regarding on the similar lines on which we are reading this Manav Vyavhar Darshan book. You organized, conceptualized a reading of Jeevan Vidya Ek Parishay in its bilingual version. And in those sessions, I was a willing participant. And I think that that was the trigger point when I thought of I decided in myself that it is high time you need some assistance. You had spearheaded the English translation work for the last maybe 10, 12, 14 years. Uh, and during those sessions and the interactions which we had together, it appeared to me that it will make more progress, if more people get involved in that. And I volunteered for that activity. So did a few other people also. And then it is for everybody else's knowledge that it is since that point, winter of 2020, that as a team, we took responsibility of translating the Hindi literature of Madhyas Darshan into English, and we divided books. We are doing it in a structured, organized manner, and I'm very happy, in participating in these activities. So, like by doing my own books which came my way for translation, as well as reviewing the books which have been translated by Rakesh Bhaiya so far, like Manav Vyavhar Darshan and Jeevan Vidya Ek Parishay. It has been very, 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 let's say, satisfying for me. Right from my first shivir, the understanding Madhyas Darshan itself was very satisfying. And then as a second step, I see the involvement in the translation work has been very satisfying. And when I look at all the members in this Manav Vyavhar reading, I think that all the hard work that we have done, its fruits are also being seen here. Our own children, who struggled with the Hindi words, are sort of, it's becoming easier for them to understand it in English. and we all know and decided and looked at it as, it needs to be going to the whole world, and if the whole world doesn't know Hindi. Okay, so in this whole thing, I think these last 3 years, I have loved spending time as part of the translation team. I think overall Madhyas Darshan has provided us as a good content of looking and understanding at this existence. As a youngster, I had my own questions, and when I look at Tanuj and Sanjana, Sanjana, as soon as she went to first Shivir, she also thought that this content answered some of the questions which she also had, but there was no space for us within the family also to discuss those questions. And after we met Tanuj, we realized that Tanuj had his own journey. Tanuj was doing Vipassana sessions since before getting married. So there was some explorations which were going on. I mean, he did Jivan Vidya Shivir also. So I think the beauty of Madhyas Darshan is that all youngsters have questions which do not have logical answers, and Madhyas Darshan gives us those logical answers. Okay, so this content is useful for everyone. And all the participants, when I see their participation, it is very heartening, very promising. And, best wishes and good luck to everyone. And Shubha Didi, your section is next. All the best wishes. That's all I have to say, Rakesh.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev Bhaiya. So nice of you to join in today. Shubha Didi, I'd like to invite you now.
जी भैया.
Could you start with your some introduction, and then you can perhaps, would you like me to share afterwards, or would you do that yourself?
No, please share भैया, because I realized that the version I have downloaded and you have changed it a little after that.
Yes,
so
a
I
little
haven't
bit.
done that.
Yeah.
Yes. So please share the screen when I'm explaining.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you can start with the introduction. I'll share it.
So as Rakesh Bhaiya has posted on my behalf, I have done PhD in biotechnology and working in agriculture college. I'm mother of two good kids. They are really good, better than me. And living with a family, trying to understand Madhyas Darshan, Jivan Vidya since long. And I don't like to say this again and again, but I'm still learning, and I still find myself struggling with many concepts. So I'm still learning on that. And I think I will try to explain things, but my understanding is since not complete. So I would request all of your support and patience while I explain. That's it, Bhaiya.
Didi, let me share the screen. Just a moment.
So, Bhaiya, I will switch off my video because I'll be more comfortable that way.
As you like it, Didi.
Okay. Because I'll keep phone somewhere and then I will talk.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have actually come till this point with Deshna.
Yes. And one more thing, Bhaiya, sometimes my connection goes bad. So if there is something, please message me.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Thank you everyone, and particularly Sanjana ji. She has explained everything so nicely, and I was thinking that how I will explain all those udarta, dhirta, which all the things that is written in the first part of this chapter, that is Manav Prayojan, Manav Sahaj Prayojan. And then I saw that how beautifully she has done it. So then I got some confidence in myself also, starting from the previous Anubhuti itself, that the satisfaction from resolution and from wealth, progeny, and reputation desired is referred as intellectual satisfaction, which is long lasting. We have discussed this. And how I see is that when we say that it is long lasting, then we believe, I believe that there is some external driving force which is keeping me, which keeps me moving. So it's long lasting because there is still something external driving force to do that. But when it is spiritual satisfaction, then there is no external driving force, and the knowledge or the realization that is in me will be the driving force. So it will be unchanging and everlasting. This is how I see it. Coming to the next point, wealth desire, Viteshna, the wish for wealth earned from the perspective of justice for righteous utilization is wealth desire. Wealth is in the form of objects of food, shelter, clothing, transportation, and telecommunication. So as we have seen that wealth is all of us want wealth, and when we say it is desire, or when it's a kind of motivation when it is put in the perspective of justice or righteous utilization. Earning something just for sake of earning and then accumulating it is not what we are looking for. So at least it's a better state than what we have in the inhuman society. So it is, of course, the things, material or object is same, but the mentality behind that is changing. Similarly is for progeny desire, that is putreshna, the wish for people's strength for the family and societal system, along with a trust in continuation of the lineage, is referred along with a trust in the continuation of the lineage is referred as the progeny desire. So we all want to see our kids growing, we all want to see our family growing, and we all want a system, societal system, to see that they are in a good place, that is well managed. So we like to continue our lineage. Of course, I see this comes from animal instinct, where we want to have our lineage, strong lineage going on. But again, this is with the perspective of righteousness and with the perspective of human tradition. This is classified as progeny desire. Reputation desire or lokeshna, the wish for recognition for indivisible society and universal system based on justice and dharma, is referred to as the reputation desire. Now here, the term that is very important is justice and dharma. Like, we all look for reputation, we all look for appreciation, we all look for external validation. And again, when this is accompanied or this is seen with the view of justice, and when we say dharma, then we are talking about something that is good for all, and something that is having a resolution, then we can then it can qualify as reputation desire or lokeshna. Otherwise, it will be for my own purpose, it will be for my own ego satisfaction. So again, it is going to the inhuman thing. So I see this as an improvement from the inhuman society to the human society, where we are looking not only for our purpose, and we are looking on a larger goal, where the recognition is for indivisible society. And it will be indivisible only when we have common practices, we have common tradition, and that common practice and tradition will be based on justice. The next part is resolution or samadhan, the fulfillment or answers of how and why itself is resolution. So in this Anubhuti, Babaji has used the words, and he's trying to explain each of the word one by one. So when we have answer of how and why itself, then and not about how and why for myself, how and why of everything in the existence, then I have resolution. And with this resolution only, I can go to the next stage, from desire to moksha, or from desire to restfulness. So sequentially, if we see that understanding the dharma, then understanding the existence, and then understanding the how and why of everything in existence, understanding the purpose of every entity and also my purpose, then only I can understand what is resolution, and then only I can get to the next stage, that is restfulness or Vishram. Restfulness or Vishram, the realization that is devoid of effort and is characterized by resolution, is restfulness. So it doesn't mean that we are not going to do anything, but it means that we don't do anything to be happy, but we do things with happiness and satisfaction. So how I see restfulness is when something is in a system, when something is in an order, then it is called restfulness. So when once a system is set, once there is an orderliness, then you don't need any to do anything. You don't need to put effort to keep it moving. You don't need to do any extra effort to keep it in place. It is in an autonomous mode. So that is what restfulness is. When we reach to that point that we are going to follow justice, dharma on our own, then it will be restfulness. And we will not need any, we will not seek any external validation or any external regulation for that matter. So he's further explaining that what is the cause of all these. The part that functions as per desire is the sense.
Shubha Didi, one request, can you
Ji.
actually read it from the screen rather than your printout, because some text has been revised. So if you can
Okay.
please read the restfulness definition again.
I was thinking Bhaiya that I'm reading it from here. Okay. So I have that version also. Restfulness or Vishram, that in which there is no effort but has resolution, and by which there is no effort, that realization itself is restfulness. The part that functions as per desire is referred to as sense or work organ. The part that attains and imparts enlightenment is referred to as buddhi. The part that realizes in coexistence is referred to as atma. And the omnipotent foundation of all atma is spirit or paramatma. So here Babaji is trying to explain the reason or the cause for all above things: sensory pleasure, then desires, and then the spiritual satisfaction, and then restfulness. That how this functions in a human body or in a human society. The parts that seek some external material or matter for its satisfaction, or they are stimulated by some external material, they are sense or work organ. And then the part in Jivan that imparts enlightenment is buddhi. So, and the part that is capable of realization is atma. And then the satta or the Vyapak spirit is the foundation for this realization. The determination of needs and usefulness is based on three aforementioned goals: physical, intellectual, and spiritual, that leads to satisfaction or happiness. So here there are two terms, needs and usefulness. How we see is that these can be classified based on what kind of satisfaction we are drawing on, from this, and then what is the period that, or how long lasting it is, so that it is satisfying us, and what is the kind of happiness. What I would suggest here, Rakesh Bhaiya, is that here can we put satisfaction and happiness, or it will be or happiness, because in Hindi it is tatha and here it is or happiness. So
Okay.
this
Yeah,
is
I think I was thinking both these things may mean the same, but we
Mhm.
can say and also without actually a problem.
Right. So because how I have understood it with perspective of Hindi is that when we say need, right, then it is something related to the thing or the point we want, and the utility is related to purpose, or the usefulness is more connected
Okay,
to
understood.
purpose. Right. So, and in that way, the fulfilling a need, we do something, and then when we see the purpose in it, then it is for happiness, or it is with the realization.
Ji.
So the next part is sensory satisfaction proves to be momentary, intellectual satisfaction proves to be long lasting, and spiritual satisfaction, that is realization, proves to be everlasting or unchanging. So I think this is explained previously also. Anything that is there for a matter and matter interaction, which is with body, is momentary, because it will have some effect on our body. It will have some effect which is either hormonal or which is some kind of pleasure, and then it is gone. The moment we are satisfied, we have used that, then it is gone, consumed that. The intellectual satisfaction, which comes from understanding, which comes from resolution, is long lasting, but it is also not permanent until and unless we have the realization thing. Realization, although I don't have right to say this, but what I feel is realization is something where you where there is no need of how I will place it. So when we say about spiritual satisfaction, then we are talking about something that is in us, that is not from outside, and then when we feel us as an entity which is there one with the existence. So this will be unchanging, because then our form or any kind of manifestation will not be there. The pleasant, unpleasant perspective becomes clear with respect to instincts. Healthy, unhealthy perspective becomes clear with respect to the body. Profit loss perspective become clear with respect to material goods and comforts. Justice, injustice perspective become clear with respect to behavior. Dharma, adharma perspective becomes clear with respect to resolution, and truth, untruth perspective becomes clear with respect to realization in existence. So here again, there is a gradual improvement from the animal instincts to, or body based instincts to, the human instinct. And we see that the pleasant, unpleasant is mostly they are mostly focused in the body pleasure or the body things or the material things. And then we see unhealthy or healthy. This is also something which is more than what I like or dislike, but it is still with the perspective of how healthy or unhealthy I will be. Then profit and loss is more with respect to how much I am going to gain, and it is related to goods and comforts. From justice injustice perspective, we get that some glimpses of nyay, some glimpses of justice in our behavior, and it is seen in our behavior. Like these perspectives are there which are seen in our behavior. If we are focused on pleasant and unpleasant things, like dislikes, then it is seen in our choices, it is seen in our living. When we are focused on justice injustice, then also it is seen in our behavior. So it is seen in our behavior. Dharma adharma perspective becomes clear with respect to resolution, how good we understand the existence and its principles, and then how does it works. Truth, untruth will be understood only with respect to realization in existence, that everything is there, permanent, and nothing is going to change in its abstractness. Nothing is going to be new, or that nothing is going to die. So in this way, we can realize, or we can see the truth, untruth behind anything. Sensory satisfaction happens upon getting a pleasant object. However, there is no sensory satisfaction upon getting an unpleasant object. This is quite clear. Health is gained from the heart's satisfaction, while the gain of health doesn't happen from the heart's dissatisfaction. This is very important point. How Babaji has actually connected that what is not good for us, for our body, and how it is going to affect our health. So he is connecting it this with our heart's satisfaction, that if we are not uh, we are not consuming or eating or having anything which is good for our body, which is good for our health, it is going to affect our heart. But this doesn't go while the gain of health doesn't happen for the heart's dissatisfaction. So we cannot ignore, or we cannot say completely avoid that we will work only with our heart and we will just sit and we will not do anything. So there is no exaggeration here in any point. Sensory satisfaction is an occasional reaction. Satisfaction, that is tripti, is the activity devoid of disturbances. So when we are satisfied, we feel peaceful, we feel relaxed. So there is no disturbance, and it is these disturbances are seen in our heart. We will further see that Babaji has connected this with the well-being of our heart, that when we are not satisfied, then there is some agitation in our heartbeat, there is some change in our blood pressure, there is some change in our palpitation. So those things are going to affect our health. Disturbance, that is andolan, the heart's well-being remains intact through balance in the activity and speed. The deviation, any deviation from this balance due to increase or decrease in the activity and speed constitutes a disturbance. Disturbance with respect to the heart's well-being. So the point that I was trying to make, that any change in our heart speed or beat or activity, which is due to some external factor, which is due to some kind of food or anything we consume or some kind of luxury that is going to cause a disturbance, is going to affect our well-being. And we can see this in our life, that our habits, we see this as, we have seen this as, it has been much talked now as lifestyle disorders. So I was amazed when I read this paragraph 10 years back, that how well he has put the ahit, or the good, that is the healthy and unhealthy perspective with respect to heart, how directly he has connected it with the heart beat, heart agitation and palpitation. So the sensory satisfaction doesn't necessarily lead to the heart. Is this a repetition, Bhaiya? The sensory satisfaction doesn't necessarily leads to the heart satisfaction, but the heart satisfaction leads to sensory satisfaction.
No, this is not a repetition, it's a different line.
I think I have read this.
What you read was this Hriday ke trapt hone se. So
Okay.
there is a difference between sensory satisfaction and heart satisfaction, which means that what is you feel sensory satisfaction is through pursuit of pleasant, and heart satisfaction is through pursuit of what is healthy.
Happens
So
upon getting a pleasant, oh, but yes, so it is having the similar. Okay, Bhaiya, because the wordings were similar. I have not seen this particular. I have marked things in my copy. Okay.
okay.
So the sensory satisfaction doesn't necessarily lead to heart satisfaction, but heart satisfaction leads to sensory satisfaction. Bhaiya has already explained it. Obtaining, now he's talking about the next perspective, that is of profit and loss. Obtaining a higher value in exchange for a lower value is profit. And this is seen everywhere. We want to put less effort and we want to have more, or we want to give less and we want to earn more out of it. So higher value is offered in exchange for a lower value in three situations: due to helplessness, willingly, and due to ignorance. So these three conditions are also quite clear. Somebody is helpless, has no other way. I see most of the farmers in this situation. Because I'm from agriculture, so I can see that they they give what is very valuable for human kind, and then they have got very less for it because there is no market value. So something, this is explaining about the market of today's time. And then willingly, when someone is in a position, or someone has that understanding, or someone is that emotionally attached, like kind of parents or someone, then they are ready to exchange for a higher value item with a lower value. A guru or a teacher can also be placed in this thing. And then is the due to ignorance. So this is also quite clear that when I'm not aware of what I have and then I exchange with anything, so and the other person is actually exploiting this ignorance. So that is the profit and loss thing. The behavior of all humans is a manifestation of the following 6 perspectives: pleasant, unpleasant, healthy, unhealthy, profit, loss, justice, injustice, dharma, adharma, and truth, untruth. So we can classify all the human beings based on these 6 perspectives. Most of the humans are in the first 3. Very few are in the justice, injustice. I have seen almost none in dharma, adharma, and truth, untruth. I won't talk about Babaji here, but most of the human beings are in the first 3, and we are trying to move from the justice, from profit loss only to justice, injustice. But this is how the whole human society is classified. Our behavior is motivated, or our behavior is determined by how we see the things, how we see value of a thing. If we see the value in terms of any relation or in terms of any satisfaction, which is above the sensory satisfaction, which is above appreciation, then we can look into dharma, adharma perspective, and then truth and truth is still to be seen. The behavior of humans with inhuman perspective is in the refuge of pleasant, unpleasant, healthy, unhealthy, and profit and loss. The behavior of humans with human perspective is in the refuge of justice, injustice, dharma, adharma, and truth, untruth. So further, we have seen that there are different kinds of human beings, right from inhuman to the godly human and divine human. So we can classify them based on their inhuman perspective or the human perspective. Based on that, their behavior is seen. The next is the necessary behavior for human is to adhere to the law of justice, and the necessary thought for human is to adhere to the laws of dharma. Now here Babaji is trying to make a statement that what is the reference point, and this is his anubhuti, of course, that the necessary behavior for human is to adhere to the laws of justice, at least, and the necessary thought for human is to adhere to the laws of dharma. So our behavior is a reflection of our thoughts. Our thoughts are, if based on dharma, if we think in alignment of existence, if we think in alignment of orderliness, if we think in alignment to equality, then our behavior will be reflecting justice. It will be just. Otherwise, it will have all kinds of issues like exploitation or kind of gaining something from everybody. So this is the reference point he is putting. Any behavior or thought that goes against these laws is unnecessary for humans. And as we go on understanding the what is right, the things that are unnecessary are gone. So they are automatically eliminated. So he's saying that whatever is, this is unnecessary and it will be eliminated. He's not saying that right now, but it will be eliminated as we understand. According to the above, all animals proves to be instinctive and herd-like, while humans proves to be just and social entities. So as the human beings have evolved, and we have seen animals, and we have also the instincts that, and we have also, we can say that since we have evolved in the period of 2 lakh or 3 lakh years, we have moved from these animal instincts to human instincts, but it is still to understand ourselves as a part of social system, as to see ourselves as a just and social entity. So we have to move from a herd-like society, mentality to the social mentality. The herd-like nature of animal is typically observed in situation of fear, and it is never observed in the activities such as study, production, or working within a system. In contrast, the basis of sociality is in awakened human is rooted in living with resolution, prosperity, fearlessness, and coexistence. Now, I find this very important that uh, why we are unsocial, or why we form groups, or why we don't see the things that Babaji has seen, or that needs that leads to compartmentalization, because we have our own fear. We have a fear of earlier we had fear of survival, then we have fear of our existence, fear of our identity, and all these things actually prevent us from doing this, from getting involved into any activity that is right for the human society, or that is right for the human nature. We cannot do study, production, or proper working within a system like where there is fear, or where there is a herd-like mentality. So it is never observed. The herd-like mentality is never observed in animals. So we have moved from animal instinct to human instinct, but because we are not animals, so we can do study, we can do production, we can have a systematic working, we can have a system for working. But since we do not have understanding of sociality, so, and we do not have the resolution, we do not understand what is prosperity, we do not have understanding of justice, so we cannot be fearless. We still have our own fears, which are different from animals, but they are there. And then, since we do not have any understanding or any proper information for coexistence or coexistential living, so we are stuck somewhere. Our sociality is still in the compartments. Animals are known for 4 primary instincts: eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. In contrast, awakened humans commonly live with desire trio, that is, progeny desire, wealth desire, and reputation desire. And they exhibit resolution, prosperity, fearlessness, and coexistence with restfulness. So we know that animals have no larger goals, but they just want to survive. For survival, they either eat, sleep, defend, and mate to reproduce, to keep their lineage. In contrast, the awakened humans are having not the fear, they don't have any fear, but they still have the desire for progeny, the desire for wealth, the desire for reputation, and it has been explained earlier that these are all connected with the justice and righteousness. So the awakened human will have resolution, it will show prosperity, and there will be fearlessness. Fearlessness is something that appeals me every time, because no one wants to be afraid or scared. But achieving this state of fearlessness is not easy. If everybody has some fear, some kind of, either for reputation, either for life, either for relations. So achieving this state is very difficult until and unless we have confidence in ourselves, until and unless we have trust in our understanding that I have solution to everything, every situation. So this comes with resolution, and this comes with understanding, and then only we can become restful. Restfulness itself is eradication of unhappiness, and liberation from delusion itself is moksha. So again, restfulness is that I am free from all external factors. I am not having any fear. I don't need to do anything to be. I am there. I exist, and I exist as a part of the whole existence. And then to understand this orderliness, and once I have all these thoughts in me properly settled, then I will not be uh, restless to achieve anything, to show anything, but I will be doing things with a desire. I'll be doing things, say, to contribute, to participate in the orderliness. So it is actually, this is how the eradication of unhappiness will be there. And I'll be liberated from all my delusions, that is because of the discontinuity of my body or any other kind of um, beliefs that are there. So this is the real meaning of moksha. The ultimate goal of universe is restfulness, and its evidence is awakened human tradition only. Therefore, every deluded human also remains eager for restfulness. Resolution itself is restfulness, which is abhyudaya or comprehensive resolution. This is again very important line, that the whole universe is moving towards restfulness. And if we see the whole system, whole universe, we see that everything is working on its own. Nobody is there to put any energy or anything in the solar system. Once it is in a orderliness, it works properly. So this is, once it is systematized, once it has achieved an autonomy in its own, then it is similar to restfulness. This kind of self-regulation or this kind of autonomy is required in human being, and only awakened human tradition can ensure this, that all human beings will achieve restfulness. And therefore, there is we seek this, we feel the pain when we are regulated by some external factor, and we seek resolution, because we don't want to be regulated by anybody else. We want to be self-regulated, we want to be self-driven, but we don't know how to get it. So if we know the things, if we know what and why, that is the resolution, then we can achieve that state of restfulness, which is abhyudaya actually. The activities, he is explaining this anubhuti with the point that activities of all four orders and all four planes in coexistence, directed toward their respective goals, comprise the entire universe. So now he's explaining what is universe, and then he's explaining that all four orders and all four planes, like uh, the planes, if we see in terms of different levels of understanding of human beings, they comprise they are in coexistence. So for universe to to achieve its goal of restfulness, it is required that all the four orders are working in proper coexistence, and they are moving towards the same goal. And only the human beings are there which needs understanding, which are not falling in line. So we who needs understanding to reach to this goal. Is anybody saying anything?
Yeah, we can actually. Are there any questions anyone would like to ask? Or, no, not yet, Didi. We can basically continue for a couple of more minutes and then stop for some Q&A.
Okay, Bhaiya. So actually I heard some voice.
Okay.
So further, the next anubhuti is the knowledge that is utilized by animals is referred to as ordinary knowledge. However, the knowledge practiced by human is classified into two categories: knowledge-based wisdom and science. So by ordinary knowledge, he means the knowledge that is required for survival, for eating, mating, and just for sake of survival in all kinds of situation. But there is no imagination. However, there is the knowledge that is practiced by human is knowledge-based wisdom and science. So he is categorizing these two things, that we need to have some wisdom. Wisdom for why, which is connected to purpose, that why we are doing this. And then once we have this knowledge, it has to be further translated into a process. Further, he has explained this part, that humans have been able to recognize restfulness through accomplishment of wisdom and science. Furthermore, humans have made significant effort to achieve this state, which is both the objective and consequence of the universe efforts. So if we say something is science, then it has to, it is related to law. It is related to law which is already there. We need to recognize that. We need to understand that. And then why that law is there, or why that entity is in a particular way. So that is wisdom. So if we understand its purpose in the whole orderliness, in the whole universe, then it becomes knowledge-based wisdom. Humans have been able to recognize this restfulness through the accomplishment of wisdom and science. Only knowing the facts and only knowing the laws and how things work is not going to suffice. It is like that we need to understand how, and we need to understand what and how, and then why it is. So why, and then the place of a particular law, the place of a particular entity in the whole universe, in the whole orderliness. That is wisdom. And then how it is connected to the whole existence. So furthermore, humans have made significant efforts to achieve this state, which is both the objective and consequences of universe effort. So in this place, we see that where the whole universe or the whole existence is going, or what is the direction of the whole existence, it is towards restfulness. And when Babaji is saying Manav here, human here, probably he's talking about himself, or awakened human who has realized the reality. Then human have tried to use this, to apply this for their betterment. So this is the consequence of universe effort, that everything is in orderliness. It's not our decision to get aligned, or it is not our decision to do something. We have got this opportunity as human being, that we are capable to understand, we are capable to see, we are capable to perceive. So the universe is placing everything in the right situation, in the right place, and we just need to understand and perform. A deluded human is independent while performing actions, but dependent while experiencing their consequences. Whereas animals are dependent both while performing actions and while experiencing their consequences. An awakened human is independent both while performing actions and while experiencing their consequences. Now, this is another line that touches me, that when we see ourselves, when we see our life, we see that we believe in something that is called destiny. We believe in something that things are not in our control. We believe that there is some external factor, or there is something supernatural that is controlling things, or that is going to take account of what we are doing and what we have done. So it is actually our delusion which leads us, which actually make, because we are deluded, we take wrong decisions. Because we are deluded, we do not understand, we take decisions that we don't know what it will lead to. We don't know the outcome of those. So we don't know what we are doing, and we again do not know what will be the effect of this, what will be the impact, what will be the what will be its effect in the long term, neither short term nor long term. So we are dependent on the situation, on the surrounding, on various things, while experiencing the consequences. And this is what we have classified as destiny till date. Whereas when animals, they are dependent both while performing actions and while experiencing their consequences, because animals do not have this, they do not have the right to decide. They have some choice, right? So they have some choice of food, they have some choice of where they will have shelter, but they cannot design it. They cannot have anything on uh, on improvising it. So they are dependent on the environment, they are dependent on their surroundings. So they are not only dependent while doing something, but they're also dependent at the time of experiencing their consequences. We are the deluded human are taking decisions, but because we are not having the right understanding, so we take decision, we feel that we have taken this decision knowingly, but we don't know its impact or its outcome. So it's the thing that we don't know the everything, we don't know the 100%, and therefore we experience the consequence. Whereas an awakened human being who has the whole knowledge, who has the whole who can see everything holistically, is independent both while performing actions and while experiencing their consequences, because their decision will be well informed, their decision will be on the basis of not only what they feel like, what is pleasant or unpleasant, or what is going to be something in terms of what they will gain out of it or what they will lose out of it, or any kind of fear, but they take decision based on what actually reality is, and then how it should be for the human tradition. So they are taking the decision with uh, uh, with complete information, and therefore they also have a very good as a, what you can say, idea or estimate that what could be the consequences, and therefore they are also um, free while experiencing, or um, they are independent in experiencing their consequences also. This is how I understand it, but I would request Rakesh Bhaiya and others to put in this.
Really, this is nice. I mean, basically, we feel independence only when we understand what action will result to what consequence. So an awakened human is aware of the laws with which action, what action will lead to what consequence. So this is in some ways putting one step ahead to what Bhagavad Gita is saying. That
Hmm.
it is saying, Bhagavad Gita is saying that humans are not free in choosing their
Hmm.
consequences of their actions. But here it is saying that it is the deluded human that is not that is dependent while experiencing the consequences. Upon awakening, what one becomes independent while experiencing the consequences also, right? So there the law or the whole knowledge is kind of um, eh, one is basically advised in Karma Yoga to surrender the
Hmm.
action to the Lord and basically be unattached to the consequences. Here we are saying that every action is going to have a consequence. It is important that we understand the law of
Hmm.
action and consequence so that we can be free for while experiencing the consequence.
Very rightly said, Bhaiya, that it's not no more that just keep on doing something and uh, be free of consequences. Something will happen if you will do something. So it is no more trial and error. You have to take responsibility of your own decision.
Yes, that's the word really, that we need to take responsibility for our actions. So, Didi, I think we should stop at this point and resume in the next session. Are there any questions that we have for Didi? So, Shubha Didi, thank you so much for making this alive. It was very nice for all the people to join today's session. And we did cover a lot of distance today and a number of points we discussed. So it's a lot of things to reflect on after this session. So thank you very much indeed, all of you, to join this session, and we hope to see you on the in the next on the next Tuesday. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Bhaiya. I would like to add one thing, that thank you for providing this opportunity. Although I consider that I'm not that good, but still this exercise is helping me a lot.
you are good, Didi. All of us are in the same boat. Di. Thank you so much, Didi. Sabhi ko
Thank you.
namaste.
Namaste, Sabhi.